Greetings everyone, myself Abdul Rahman bin Salam, the Communications Manager at bookmymbs.com. Today we have
Dr. Syed Saifullah, ex-student Nanjing Medical University, China.
we welcome him. So now I have a few questions for you which are related to the student queries that we get every year. So the first thing is studying in China a better option?
Well, I guess definitely studying medicine abroad, not just in China but even in Russia, Kyrgyzstan and Ukraine. These are all great options because basically we do not have a great number of seats in India, unfortunately. So I guess studying medicine abroad is also a great option, and there's not much of a difference in studying medicine abroad. Yeah, like most of the universities in different countries are recognized by the Medical Council of India. Is being taught in an English language. So I guess there's nothing else why studying medicine should be an issue for the students in India.
So Dr. Saif, do we have any eligibility criteria to study in all those countries that you mentioned?
So basically, according to the Medical Council of India, a student who aspires to become a doctor is supposed to pass his 12th grade, which is intermediate for SSC students, and also could be 12th grade basically, with a NEET exam, which is mandatory for students who want to pursue medicine abroad or even in India.
So, like people go from here, right? What are the documentations that are required for a student from here to leave to any abroad countries?
So the prerequisites are bare minimum. You need to have your passport, a valid visa to study in that country, your 12th, 10th certificates, passport size photos, NOC from the Indian government, and a health certificate. Basically, yeah, that's about it, I guess.
Okay, great. So we would like to know about your experience in the first year, when you provided these documents, right? And when you landed in China. What were the hostels all about? Did you had any communication issues or the barriers that are there with the local people over there?
So, as I've told you earlier, I went to China, right? And everything seems to be different than the home country, obviously, because I was told that China is a communist country. They do not speak English. They do not speak your own language. So it's going to be really difficult to basically communicate with them. I did find a couple of things very difficult initially because the food there is not the same as we have it here. The language, there was difficulty in speaking their language earlier, but bookmymbbs.com, the place where I basically registered myself to go study abroad, they gave me a 1-month course of Chinese language, so it helped me a lot to communicate with them based in the initial period of time. But gradually we had a Chinese language course there for about 1.5 years, so I could pick up the language and it was pretty much easier afterwards. And the other issues I had initially was, I would say, the food, but since there are a lot of Indian students coming to abroad, the medical colleges there provided Indian food for Indian students, so that was not a big problem for me, I guess.
Was the food halal?
Yeah. Since there are many Muslim students coming from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, so they've started halal food as well. So that was not a problem. Halal Indian food, basically.
So the countries that we provide from Book My MBBS itself, are they MCI registered? Like, have you noticed it or felt something different? Because there are over 40 universities in China and Book My MBBS is doing only 6.
Right.
So what was your experience with that?
So basically, there are many colleges, many universities in China, Russia, Ukraine, which are recognized by Medical Council of India and which do not have any recognition as well. But fortunately, since we are all Indian students, we plan to come back to India after med school. So Book My MBBS has chosen a couple of universities which are recognized by the Medical Council of India. So all the universities they deal with are recognized by Medical Council of India, not just Medical Council of India, but as also USMLE. You could, go to US after your med school. You can go to UK or any other third country you'd like to go to. So yeah.
Yes. Also, the universities that we have selected in our criteria list are WHO recognized.
WHO recognized, UNESCO, UNICEF, yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. So a basic query from all the students is that since it's a long course, they wanted to know whether or not while studying the course, can they work?
Well, unfortunately, see, there are two things basically. Number one is the question if you can work, because it's mainstream that people going abroad have to work in order to pay for their basic expenses. For the countries, people usually go to USA, Canada, Australia in their masters for the masters basically. So they want to work in order to pay for their basic expenses, which is actually true. But unfortunately, in our case, people going to abroad for MBBS don't really work, and also they're not eligible to work, because I personally feel MBBS is such a field where even if you give 12 to 18 hours a day to study, it's less. To be really honest, it is very less, right? If you start earning to pay for your expenses, I guess you're going to trouble yourself in the end. But if you want a one word answer, I would say no, it is not allowed. As per the student visa, you're not allowed to work in these countries.
Since we have discussed expenses, what was the total cost of your entire journey in China? Can you give a rough approximate?
Yeah. So basically, I was told there are packages from different universities which can cost you about 2 lakhs to 4 lakhs. I am talking about the school fee basically. 2 lakhs to 4 lakhs per annum. This is a 6-year course. So basically 2 to 4 lakhs per year. This is going to be a school fee. Apart from that, for your personal expenses, it would cost you around 100 to 150 US dollars. But it depends on person to person. I've seen people, spending about $100 per month, to there are people who spend about $250 per month. This is US dollars.
Okay.
So I would say 150 US dollars could be a good can be a sufficient amount for your monthly expenditure.
What about the hostel of the mess charges?
Right. So most of the universities in China, they provide us with the hostel and the food accommodation. So basically, most of the universities provide us with the dorm and the mess. Mess also, we have Indian food, as we have discussed already. Indian food, halal food, right? So I would say the 150 US dollars I was talking about is including the mess charges. But the dorm fees, the hostel fees is about $1,000 per year, I would say.
Per year.
And also to make a note, I would say, when I was thinking how the dorm would look like, because I was told by my colleagues here in India that the dorm doesn't look good, that doesn't have enough furniture. But alhamdulillah, we got great furniture. We had our own washroom in the hostel, AC, all the basic needs basically, a refrigerator, heater, everything. So we had a whole package in the dorm, I would say.
And that's just for $1,000 a year. So now, I suppose there are rooms, and do you have partners, or just a single person per room, or it depends on you?
So again, it depends from university to university. Basically, the dorms they provide usually have 2 people sharing a single room. We have different buildings or different floors for boys and girls. So yeah, 2 people share a single room.
Okay, so regarding this, a lot of female students have queries regarding how the hostel systems are, and I heard from Dr. Hasibullah sir that it's completely different. Like the entire facility of hostel for the girls and the boys are separate.
Right.
So do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, basically, as I already told you, we have 2 separate buildings for each one, for boys and girls. And a couple of universities do not have different buildings but different floors for the other genders. I mean, both the genders.
Great. So since we are international students, right, and obviously people do have this misconception, or even I would if I go abroad, obviously. So how well they take care of the international students, since we are absolutely new and there are possibilities that many things could go wrong, right? So how were you welcomed? How were the people who treated you, or the university staff, or the faculty over there?
Going there, obviously, I mean, we are new to them. Then the people who are handling us, we are the responsibility, right? they definitely have to take care of us. And since we enrolled ourselves through Book My MBBS, we had a mentor there 24/7, 365 days. Thankfully, whenever we had issues, basically initially we had issues with having setting up our bank account, the student ID card, and finding groceries initially. I mean, during the first month of our visit. So thankfully we had this mentor 24/7 who could help us with all our initial issues. So I think initially we did not have any other issues with that, but yeah, that's about it.
So this mentor he's talking about is a person employed in almost every country that we go through, and what he does is he stays in the university and looks after our students, as Dr. Saif mentioned, right? So another query that we have is, according to you, right, after completing exam, is it worth it to come in India, or to complete it there and remain there and continue the career there, or pursue for PG or MD in other countries?
All the countries these people send to have PG and PhD courses. It really depends on yourself, if you really want to continue your post graduation or doctorate over there, or switch to other country or come back to your home country. It really depends on you. You have all the options open. You can fly to USA and continue your medical residency there, or if you would plan to shift to UK per se, you can do that as well. If you're planning to come back to India, you're supposed to give a licensing exam in whichever country you're planning to fly to and you're planning to settle in. You are supposed to write a licensing exam. Just after that, you can pursue your further career there.
So what have you done after completing your course in China in NMU?
Yeah.
What are the people want to know, students from our place, they have gone obviously, and what are you doing right now? Is the question.
So basically, just after completing my medical med school there, I started working in one of our corporate hospitals in Hyderabad in the critical care team, and simultaneously I'm planning to write my licensing exam, which is the Medical Council of India exam for a medical graduate exam. And right after that, I'm planning to give lab and shift to UK.
Great.
For my residency.
Great. So here are the opportunities that a student can avail. Go to another foreign country and take the MBBS and come back, write a licensing exam, go to another country to settle or to pursue his career further, or do post graduation. What is the duration of the course in NMU in China?
In China, basically the medical school is for 5 years plus another year for internship, which internship can be done anywhere else as well. It is up to you if you want to continue your internship in China, or if you want to go back to your home country to complete that internship year, or if you want to travel to third country per se, you can do that as well. So basically medical school is for 5 years, and the 6th year you can do it anywhere if you want to.
Internship. Right. So how is the infrastructure or the methodology of teaching over there? And as I heard, it was divided into semesters. So could you spread some light on that?
Sure. So most of the countries, all of them follow a semester pattern. Basically, we have semester system there. Since we're talking about 5 years, so 5 years are divided into 10 semesters basically. You have a set of subjects during your semesters. Every semester they give you a set of subjects you're supposed to study. They teach you those subjects. You are expected to study those, and then by the end of that semester you're supposed to write the exam, clear it, finish it, and then move on to another semester with the new subjects. So I feel this is a great idea, because in India we do not have that. We study 1 year, probably 2 years studying the same subjects, and by the end of 1.5 year or 2 year we write those exams. So I think this is a bit more stressful for a person to hold on to those subjects for so long.
Correct. And how is the quality of education there? Here it's really crowded, as we may or may not know. I heard, and probably you have seen it and experienced it, one faculty is allotted a number of students, right? And what about the infrastructure, basically the classrooms, and how does everything work?
So I haven't been to medical colleges in India, but as I was told by my colleagues, the kind of background they gave me about medical schools in India, I could say, we had a very different kind of experience in China. The modern infrastructure we have, I mean, I could talk about the modern infrastructure or the modern technologies, instruments they use during the procedures, during the surgeries, while, teaching us. It was entirely different. We had this audiovisual classes. They used to teach us with the PPTs basically, and during the anatomy labs or pharmacology labs or the other subjects where we use a subject to learn about human body. Each subject we used to have just 6 students with a professor. So I guess that built us, that helped us a lot in understanding the basic human anatomy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the best thing is, I suppose you get to interact with many different nationalities, even as students or the classmates that you have, not just the faculty who is outside. And I would like to ask, how did that help you?
So, I should have added this thing in the first, because the kind of international exposure we got while studying in China was entirely different. Here in Hyderabad, I would have never had the same kind of experience in India, right? We had students coming in from Sri Lanka, Thailand, Bangladesh, Indonesia, America, Australia, Africa, a lot of countries, right? So the international exposure was entirely different, I would say, and it really helped me a lot to build my personality, I would say.
Yeah, that actually helps. And finally, coming to the last thing is, how well did Book My MBBS help you in the admission process and throughout all these years?
So from the start, if I say, I got to know about Book My MBBS from one of my friend who happened to be my colleague in medical school as well. So he somehow was, counseled about MBBS abroad, specifically in China. And I was told about MBBS in China through him, and it was fascinating for me to know about such an option, because I never knew about it during my 12th grade, right? Because I was never told about MBBS abroad, or maybe even if I was told about MBBS abroad, I was only talked about negative aspects of doing MBBS abroad. But after listening to my friend, I happened to visit the head office of bookmymbbs.com. I spoke to Dr. Hasib sir, Dr. Babar sir, and Dr. Dib Gibran sir. I was fully convinced. I asked my parents to talk about it, and my parents were also convinced about this deal, and I happened to join this. So basically, bookmymbbs.com helped me a lot, right from showing me all the options I had, choosing from different countries to different universities in different countries, and also helped me get the visas, my health checkup, medical certificates, documentation from Delhi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so all of it was helped through Book My MBBS. And also we had this mentor 365 days there. So that helped us a lot. Initially, after that we could, help ourselves there. But initially, the mentor over there helped us a lot.
Finally, do you have anything to say to our viewers or the students who are aspiring to be MBBS regarding the opportunities, whether or not they should actually consider going MBBS abroad?
So basically, as per the statistics, only I guess 1 or 2% of the aspirant can study MBBS after clearing the NEET exam, because of the number of seats we have in India. So I guess the rest of the population, they do not have any other option, basically, unfortunately. And I suppose if you really want to become a doctor, if you aspire to become a doctor, I guess MBBS abroad is a good option. The country doesn't really matter, if it be China or Armenia or Russia, Ukraine. The country doesn't really matter, because the international exposure, the kind of medical education there is really great, to be really honest. And I would say, if you really want to become a doctor, I guess you should, plan on studying MBBS abroad.
Correct. Any final words for our viewers?
Best of luck for the NEET results. And if unfortunately you happen to, do not get the score you require to, get a medical seat in India, I would suggest, try planning on
Going abroad.
going abroad.
Yeah. Thank you. That's it from our side. Have a nice day.